Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Hope everybody's doing okay. So today I wanted to take you on a little journey through my experience with resining a dandelion. I want to show you how I went from this to this. So this is actually a part 2. If you want to see the previous video, click the little I button and it will take you to part number 1. But now I'm going to show you how I got this amazing result. Today I'm going to be showing you how I solved my little bubble problem. But before that I want to put in a little disclaimer because I'm going to be using a hot water bath, and when you're heating resin the toxic fumes will get worse. So please wear a respirator, make sure your area is well ventilated and there are no children or pets in the area. For this project I'm again using the River and Art resin, and it's a 2-to-1, and while I was mixing it in a bowl of hot water. The water was just the hottest water I could get from my tap. Make sure you don't get any water in your resin, they don't like each other. But by heating up the resin you make it more fluid, and the thinner it is the easier the bubbles can come up and you can torch them. So I'm going to pour the resin on my stick and then in the container. Because I already put my dandelion in, I'm hoping that it won't all fall apart. So I'm just going to pour the resin in very slowly, making sure that I try to not touch anything and make sure my dandelion stays centered. And because my resin is a lot thinner, it's going to flow in between the fluff so much easier, and it will not push as much on my dandelion. So I'm really hopeful that this actually will work. And as you can see, you don't need a fancy mold to do this. You can use just your mixing bowl and you will get a great result. So my dandelion is fully submerged in the resin, and now comes the tricky part. I'm going to be transferring it into a bowl with hot water. So I'm going to do this to keep the resin warm for a longer period of time. This will make sure that the resin stays fluid longer and gets all the bubbles that are still trapped in it to be able to flow up. So now I'm going to be transferring it, and it makes me really nervous because any sudden movement can make the fluff just poof. And I also don't want to get any water with my resin because that will ruin the whole piece. So here we go, lift off. I'm going really slow, but here you can see my camera is in the way and I bumped on the side, and I'm so glad my dandelion survived that. So before I let my dandelion dry, I sprayed it with some clear varnish, and I think that does help a lot with it staying together in the resin. It's the next day and my resin cured for 24 hours, so it's nice and firm. It's not completely cured, but it's hard enough for me to remove my stick. So I'm going to just try and snap it by wiggling it around. And if that doesn't work, I can always use my little snippers. But let's just, oh, there it goes. It was that easy. So now it's all flat and ready to get another layer of resin. And this second layer is actually going to be the base, so it's going to be the underside. And I'm going to show you 2 different ways I like to finish off these projects. Again, I'm just using the River and Art resin, and I'm just going to separate it into 2 containers because I want to do 2 different colors. So I'm just adding a little bit more to one of the 2, and I will show you why I'm using more for the first and for the second. So in this case I'm going to be using the Blue Amethyst. It's a liquid coloring by Sam. Just shake well. I'm going to use a couple of drops. Let's just mix it up and see what color we're getting.
think that needs a little bit more. It's a little bit too light for what I want, so I'm going to add another 3 drops.
So that's 6 drops in total. Let's mix it.
Oh, that looks a lot better, but now I'm going to add a little bit of this purple mica powder. And I don't want to make it fully opaque, so I'm just going to add a tiny bit and stir it in. So as you can see, it gives a nice little shimmer to the resin, but it's still see-through enough. So let's pour a little layer in and see how it looks. So that's still a little bit too light for my liking, so I'm going to add another couple of drops of the liquid color. So that's looking a whole lot better, so let's just pour it in and see what we get. Okay, now we're getting what I wanted. I didn't want to have it fully opaque, but I also don't want it to be clear. So the mica powder is giving me a nice shimmer. So let's torch some bubbles. So it's looking good. Let's put a lid on it. So now we're going to do number 2, and this one I had a little bit less resin, and I'm going to show you why. But before that, I'm going to add some colors. This is a blue liquid tint.
Let's see what 7 drops does.
This one is very transparent, so I think I'm going to need a little bit more than what I got. Let's just add a couple more drops.
Let's add 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, that looks so much better. So let's put my color away and mix it up for a little bit more. And for this one, I also wanted to add a little bit of bling. So this is abalone shell from Bling It, and it will give a really nice shimmer. You don't need much, and be careful that stuff goes everywhere.
Stir that in.
Just look at how nice of a shimmer that gives. So I'm going to put a little layer of this resin down first because I'm going to add some glass shards on top, and I don't want them to be sitting on the clear resin. And I actually got 2 reasons to use these glass shards. One, they reflect the light a little bit different and it gives a nice effect. And 2, it fills up your area and you need less resin. Let's just add the rest of the resin. Don't forget to torch the last of the bubbles. Let's add a lid to this one as well and let it cure.
It's unmolding time! I'm so excited for these two. I know one has a little bit more bubbles than the other, but that's okay. So it's fully cured. And I'm going to try and get some air in between. There's a line And if you push, the air will release the resin from the cup. So you can see this is still stuck, and here's the air. What also sometimes helps is putting the lid back on and pushing on the lid. So it should be ready to pop right now. So I'll just wiggle the container back and forth. There it went. As you can see, this one still has a couple more bubbles than I would like, but I still really love it. So let me put this to the side and get the second one. So here's the second one, and the same. Just push and pull till you get all the air on the side to release your resin. Like so. Then you start with the bottom. And there it goes. And look at how amazing this one turned out. Still a few bubbles, but if you compare it to the first one, it's really a big difference. So this was my first try, and if you can see, so there's a lot of bubbles. It's still really pretty, but this one is super clear. This is just by changing one little thing, and it was the temperature, and it made this huge difference. Just changing the temperature, I got this amazing result. It's just such a minor change in what you're doing, but look at how big the impact is. So what I learned from this experience is to not give up and just try. Look at what you are doing and maybe go a step back and figure out what you could do to make it better. So I want to thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions, just leave it down below in the comments and I will get back to you as soon as I can. So thank you for watching. Bye everyone!